Hello, it's April from April's Home, and today I'm going to be making one of my favorite cookies that I make every December. These are my Currant Slice and Bake cookies. So it's like an old-fashioned refrigerator type cookies full of these delicious currants here. I get my currants from Sunmade. Just a bag like this. You'll only need one bag unless you of course want to make a double batch, which some years I do make a double batch. This year I'm only making a single batch. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with this recipe by softening my butter in the microwave. Then we'll go ahead and get that mixed up in our bowl with some sugars. We'll add the flours and things like that. Then we'll get these all mixed up. Once these are all mixed up, we will go ahead and roll them into a log shape and wrap them in plastic wrap and get them chilling in the refrigerator. These need to chill for a little while before they're ready to bake. Now I'll go ahead and soften up my butter, and then we'll come back and get these cookies mixed right up. So I have my mixing bowl here along with my electric hand mixer ready to go. I've got some powdered sugar here, and I'm going to start by adding 1 cup of powdered sugar to my mixing bowl. Then we'll add half a cup of regular sugar. And now I'll go ahead and add my softened butter. I've got my 2 sticks of butter, or 1 cup of butter softened. I pretty much melted it here in the microwave. This is one of the reasons it needs to chill, because we need to get that butter to kind of harden back up inside the dough. But this way it mixes really nicely. So I'm going to go ahead now and blend the butter with the sugars and start to get that incorporated, and then we'll go ahead and add the egg. And I will be leaving the ingredients list in the description box below. Okay, so let's go ahead and get that mixed together here, just so the butter and the sugar has a chance to mix together before I add the rest of the ingredients. Next I'll be adding 1 egg and 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and then I'm going to go ahead and beat that together until it is a light and sort of fluffy mixture there, and after that we'll go ahead and add our dry ingredients. So I'm going to go ahead and crack the egg in here and get the vanilla in here, and then we'll get that mixed together. So we've got our egg and our vanilla in our butter and sugar mixture. Now I'm going to go ahead and get this all mixed together until it is light and fluffy. We're just going to keep blending this with my hand mixer until it takes on a sort of light and fluffy look. Okay, so here is our cookie dough so far, and now I'm going to go ahead and add the flour. We will need 2 1/4 cups of flour. Here's our first cup, and our second cup, and our 1/4 cup. And next we'll go ahead and add our baking soda. We'll need half a teaspoon of baking soda. So half a teaspoon of baking soda. I'll go ahead and use my measuring spoon to kind of mix that around just in the flour there a little bit so it's evenly distributed. And now I'm going to go ahead and mix in my flour here. Let's go ahead and mix that until it's thoroughly combined, and then we'll be adding our currants. We'll go ahead and leave that right there and go ahead and add our currants now. And we'll be mixing in 1 cup of currants. So I've opened up my currants here, and it's not quite the whole bag. I've got a little bit left in there. And just if you are not familiar with currants, they look like teeny tiny little raisins. They're really, really good. I love using them in a few different recipes. An English tea cake recipe and this recipe, and I also add this to our Irish soda bread. So I love currants, and here we have a cup here to go ahead and add into our cookies. Okay, and now we'll go ahead and mix these in, and then we'll be ready to form this into a roll shape and get that wrapped in plastic to chill in the fridge before we're ready to bake it. And I just like to use my electric mixer to get all of the currants mixed into the dough. So my dough now is fully mixed. I've got some cling wrap out here. I'm going to go ahead and clear a space on my counter and lay out a roll of cling wrap on the counter here. Then I'm going to scoop my mixture into the center and form that into a log shape. So I'll go ahead and lay out my cling wrap now. So as you can see, I've rolled out a sheet of cling wrap onto my counter here, and now I'm going to go ahead and scoop my dough onto the cling wrap here. I have scooped out my cookie dough in a long row here like so, just using a spoon, and now I'm going to go ahead and use my clean hands to form it into a roll, like a cookie dough roll, just like you would buy in the refrigerated section, a roll of cookie dough. That is basically what we're forming here. You can also use the cling wrap to help you roll it into more of a roll shape. You'll want the end to be the same width here. I'm going to go ahead and spread this out a little bit too. I don't want my cookies to be too big, so I like my roll to be a little bit thinner here. So I'm going to keep forming that, and then I will come back and show you how that turned out so you can see the size there. We want the size so that when we slice the cookies, they're a little bit bigger than a silver dollar because they do spread out a bit. In the past, I've actually separated this into two just because I think it'll be easier to manage in the refrigerator. So I'm actually going to do that now. I'm going to divide this in half and wrap them separately. So I'm going to go ahead and get out another sheet of cling wrap here and separate this into two rolls. Okay, so just for ease of working with that, I've gone ahead and separated that into two rolls here, and I've kind of formed it into a rough roll shape here. It's a little bit too square at this point, but that's okay. You'll see when I roll it in the plastic wrap here. I'm going to go ahead and roll this up just like so, that we can then kind of form it more into a circle shape here, so it is like a roll of cookie dough. So we will go ahead and do that, and then we'll get that sealed up, and I'm going to pop these in the refrigerator. Sometimes I like to make these in the evening and leave them in the refrigerator overnight. You definitely want the dough to firm up. As you can see, I can just squish this right now, and that is just too soft of dough. The cookies will spread out too far and won't cook right. So we definitely need this dough to be chilled. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this in the fridge. I think I'll go ahead and leave these overnight, and then we'll come back when they're chilled. We will unroll these. I will cut them into slices and bake them on a cookie sheet lined in parchment. So here are my two rolls of cookie dough ready to go in the fridge. You can see that once you get them rolled over, the seam side is on the bottom here. You can easily smooth them out into a nice rolled shape here. And we'll go ahead and get those in the fridge. Like I said, I'll probably leave these in the fridge overnight. It probably will need to chill for at least, I would suspect, at least 3 hours. You want that dough to solidify a bit. I will come back when these are ready, show you what that looks like, and we'll get them baked up. My currant slice and bake dough has chilled. You can see it's nice and solid. I've got a knife here, and I'm going to cut it in slices to bake. I've got my cooling rack out for the first batch when they come out, and I have lined a baking sheet with parchment here and preheated my oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to go ahead now and slice this up. The first end piece is always a little bit funny shaped because of it just being the end piece, but I will probably go ahead and cut them in slices about this big. I believe that's probably close to 1/8 of an inch or so. So this is the first roll. I've left the other roll in the fridge while I'm working so it stays chilled. So I'm going to go ahead now and slice this up, and I'll show you how big I've made the slices. Then we'll get them laid out on our cookie sheet. I've got the first roll of cookie dough all sliced up here. You can see how many it makes. This makes quite a few. It doesn't look like it will make very much at first, but then you can see that it does here. And again, it's about this wide here. You can see that the dough did flatten out, so it's not an exact circle, but that is okay. And now I'm going to go ahead and lay out, I think I will start with 8. I may be able to fit 12 in the next batch, but I always like to err on the side of caution with my first batch and only bake 8 cookies until I make sure that my oven is preheated well and that I've got the time correct. So I'm going to go ahead and lay out 8 cookies on my parchment lined baking sheet. I will lay this end piece here with the end facing down. This one's a little bit smaller, so I'll have to watch that that doesn't cook too quickly. And here we go. We've got all 8 laying out. My oven is preheated to 350. I'm going to go ahead and put these in the oven. These take anywhere from 10 to 12 minutes. But with this first batch, of course, I'm going to check these at 8 minutes and see how they're doing. We're looking for them to puff up and spread just a little bit and turn into a nice light golden brown. So I'll get these in my 350-degree oven for 8 minutes, and then we'll check them, and I'll let you know how long this first batch takes to cook. Here's the first batch out of the oven here, and you can see that they are a little bit golden brown around the edges. These were in the oven for 9 minutes. I put them in for 1 minute extra past the 8 minutes. And this one almost might be a little bit overdone, but I think between 8 and 9 minutes so far seems to be the correct time for these. I've put a dozen more in the oven now to cook. And again, I'm going to check them at 8 minutes just to see how they're doing. So I'm going to go ahead and take these now and get them on a cooling rack and continue baking the rest of these cookies. I have baked all of the Currant Slice and Bake cookies here. It made slightly more than 4 dozen, about 4.5 dozen here. I'm going to go ahead and let these cool, and then I'll get some on a serving tray and give one a try. My Currant Slice and Bake cookies are all cooled down, and I've put them here on this wooden tray. Each tray of cookies took between 8 and 9 minutes to bake at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and the house smells absolutely delicious. These are one of my favorite cookies. They have a really mild and sweet taste to them. They're absolutely delicious with a cup of tea. I look forward to making these every year, and I think this year I may make them mid-year as well. They are just such a delicious cookie. I absolutely love them. So I'm going to go ahead now and try one of these cookies here. You can see that they are a light golden brown on the bottom and just ever so slightly light golden brown around the edges here. They are full of delicious currants here, and they are a light, very delicious buttery cookie. So I'm going to go ahead and give this a try. And that was delicious. This is, again, one of my favorite cookies to make every year. I personally really look forward to this one. And again, I think this cookie is really wonderful with a cup of tea. A couple of these cookies with a cup of tea is just absolutely delicious. I really hope you give this recipe a try. It's a delicious and easy cookie to make. And also, like I said, this cookie would be good year-round. And tomorrow night, I'll be serving these to my grandkids with a cup of milk here. So we'll see what they think of these cookies as well. So I hope you enjoyed taking a look at this Currant Slice and Bake cookie recipe, and I hope everyone is having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.